have brought you here?
2019 was an amazing year for video games. In terms of volume/quality, pretty much it was one of my favorite years ever. So many quality games releasing one after the other in such high frequency. I really realized how lucky I was to follow so many amazing creators and amazing series, and being given so much amazing games to play. For this year's Game of the Year video, I'm going to be highlighting 6 games that I believe deserve to be highlighted as some of the most amazing games that came out this year, and 4 games that I believe are the pinnacle of games that came out this year that are my Game of the Year nominations. Then at the end, I'm going to reveal what my Game of the Year was. It's pretty simple. Let's do this. On a side note, if you're wondering why I use trailer footage for my Game of the Year video, it's to avoid copyright issues and also to avoid spoiling you of anything that the company that made the game does not want you to see already. I don't want that on my conscience, you seeing something that you're not supposed to or that the company does not want you to see. Fire Emblem Three Houses. The immersive and beautiful world that gives way to strategic and always fun battles and some relationships that will last a freaking lifetime. The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening Remake. A remake of an old classic but perfect in everything it does. Danger is around every corner, but the update makes it even easier to get lost on Koholint Island. Catherine Full Body. A sexy remake made in a new engine, Catherine delights with its under and overtones, adding a new story that is both emotional and fun. It's hard not to love this puzzle gameplay, and even as it aims to torment our main character, I still love it all the same. Persona Q2. Improving on the previous game, the creative dungeon crawling RPG brings the greatest characters in the world under one roof, and honestly the 3DS could not have asked for a better new game send-off. This is a beautiful, magical, and underrated game. Pokemon Sword and Shield. One of my favorite games since Silver. This game has a world of wonder that is filled with a new adventure that I had so much fun going through. While I did not catch them all, I did catch some of my new friends, and it could not have been sweeter. Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. A superb game that proves Miyazaki is one of the top 5 directors of all time. Fast-paced action with a world full of stories and lore to tell. This game is one of my favorites. It's hard not to get addicted to the stunning visuals and interesting choices that are made within this game. A high-tier action game if you're definitely looking for something to play.
Yagami 先生に弁護の依頼です。
だろうよ。
依頼人は大久保新平。
大久保新平って八神が無罪にした
殺人で逮捕されたそうです。
いや、だからその事件は俺が。
前のとは別なんです。ついさっき大久保が包丁で恋人を刺した後、ガソリンで火を。
なわけねえだろ。
Judgment. Judgment, or Judge Eyes in Japan, is not unlike the previous sister games that it's related to, the Yakuza series, where on the surface people see the jokey side quests and the over-the-top violence and think, yeah, it's a pretty superficial gimmick game. But I can safely say that Judge Eyes, just like Yakuza, has a deep story with characters that I will never forget. You play as Takayuki Yagami, a disgraced former lawyer turned private detective with a strong sense of justice. Yagami is intentionally wrapped up in a murder mystery where the killer is gouging out the eyes of his victims, and Yagami could be the only hope to stop him. The murders seem to relate back to Yagami's past in some delicious way. The mystery is in depth and kept me guessing throughout. It was hard to ever put the controller down as I just wanted to know more. It felt as though I was always in danger, unraveling a piece of thread that at any moment could turn into a TNT fuse that would destroy Yagami's whole world and leave the district alone, with no hero to help. Yagami is always on the heels of a revelation, while someone is always on his heels. The people you were told to trust your whole life are now on shaky ground, but the new allies you meet along the way are not only interesting but also people that I will never forget, nor do I want to forget for the rest of my video game fandom. The characters are stellar and all have their own motives and reasons for wanting to help Yagami or hinder him along the way. The protective and bright Kaito, who wants Yagami to be safe, but has no issue throwing hands with him if it feels like he's in the wrong. Sagura, the elusive heartthrob that hides his motive as well, but it's hard not to feel attached to him very early on. The tough but fair Genda is a caring fellow but can sometimes express it in a harsh way, but it's hard not to love him. And the quiet and reserved Sayori, who shows so much personality with her body language without saying anything at all. And of course my favourite, Issei Hoshino, a young lawyer that Yagami sees a lot of himself in. He has the determination that Yagami has and the same sense of justice but lacks the street savvy, which is why he's a perfect apprentice for Yagami. The game has many more amazing characters and evil villains that I feel like talking about too much would kind of be a spoiler, but oh boy, a lot of them are fantastic. These people were a joy to be around and I hung on every word they said. Before the last mission I thought about never seeing them again and it made me sad, made me almost cry. What a ragtag group they created that could stand up to any other list of characters any other day. It's hard not to feel for the people in the world and the main character themselves. The dialogue is so well written and the pacing of how they deal out the story is in the highest of tiers. It is to me an essential game for anyone who is a fan of murder mysteries. The world is pretty much the same as Yakuza. Kamurocho looks vibrant and beautiful as ever, without failing off to show its cruel and seedy aspects too. A detailed world full of things to do. People walk around the city making it feel crowded but lived in. It's always a treat to return here, but this time it's even better. The combat is great, fast and aggressive, but it almost goes without saying in these games at this point. But I do not think that is the true strength of these games. The true strength is the story, and this is the best I have ever played in any video game, and that is no word of a lie. Filled with heartbreaking pasts, longing love stories, and a plethora of comedic moments, it makes me wish that this was not the last time we saw Yagami. But I don't know. Maybe we might see my friend again. I just know it's not the last time I'm going to be visiting Kamurocho. Trails of Cold Steel 3. This game continues the fantastic series with a lengthy entry that takes the original two's foundations and builds a house that cannot be destroyed by a tornado, proving that JRPGs have not lost their luster. While the first two games has you play as military student Rean Schwarzer in Thor's Military Academy, honing your skills and forging relationships to last a lifetime, the third installment has you playing as instructor Rean Schwarzer, assigned to teach the future of this country, not only to teach them history, but also combat studies and help them on their field studies. The game's story is as always in depth, but a little slow to get into. While that is a problem to some, I love how it allows the world to breathe and build up familiarity, so when shit hits the fan, there are actual feelings toward this country in peril. There are so many twists, turns, betrayals, and horrific moments that have left me stunned and jumping up from my seat. Since this is the third game in the series, I will not choose to spoil anything, but just know, in this game a darkness is coming. People I once trusted now give me an uneasy feeling, and not one person is safe anymore. And that is, oh my god, the truth. There is a revelation each turn, answering the question that the first two games laid out while creating completely new ones. The mark of a good franchise in my opinion. One that wants its final chapter to be engrossing and captivating and in full of secrets. Rean Schwarzer, the main character of this story in all three games, is simply put, one of the best protagonists in any RPG ever. To have a character like Rean lifts every aspect of the game entirely. A good RPG character has an interesting story to tell that the player can grasp onto, while also helping other people in the game fulfill their story arcs as well at the same time. Rean does this extremely well. A lot of older characters have returned, and now they are older and more experienced, and it gives us a different perspective on not only the conflicts that are happening in the country of Erebonia, but also on the history that each character has with each other. And here, those recurring relationships have only improved, feeling as if I've known these people all my life. The people from your past keep popping up in tremendous ways, moments that are heart-stopping and send chills through my spine. It's always exciting to get to see them. Even the thought of it makes me happy. People from your military academy have lives now, they've moved on and live in different places in Erebonia, but as soon as you meet them, they almost revert back to the same old person you knew and loved. The shining stars of this game, however, are the newer people you meet. Your students in your class. Rex, Yuna, Muse, and Kurt. All fabulous additions, all bringing with them their own personal stories and personal baggage. These new people add to the game, allowing for a whole new outlook on the already set in stone ideals of this troubled place. It helps that the design of the characters is just on a whole nother level. I've never seen this type of design from this company yet, or this development team yet, and they really stepped up their game. Yeah, it's in 4K 60 FPS, that helps too. The world is amazing to explore with beautiful small towns and big cities to discover, cities you only heard about in the first games. Each place you go to has its own culture and set of morals that makes each place you visit different. It feels lived in, real, and an added bonus is that they're the prettiest yet. They're fantastic to look at. It helps that the lore of this game is more in depth than any other game I've seen. Countless books and newspapers tell you the history of this world. It's a choice to read these written words, and you can go the whole game without knowing a thing about the wars or the past. The heroes of the past, or even the events that lead each city or each town to where it is, and even each person within the town to why they have their own opinion on the current regime, on whether it's improving or ruining the country. Along with different towns, you can explore the large Thor's Academy branch campus, where you can form relationships by spending time with fellow classmates and teachers. You can get some food, fish a little, buy some books, and clothes. Here we find the campus students, each one now with their own flair, and even the teachers who take their jobs very, very seriously. The gameplay itself is fantastic. My favorite turn-based battle system is within this game. It involves a link system where each character in your party links with another, attacking one after the other, rushing the enemy. The stronger your bond with a partner, the stronger your link will be with your partner. It feels good to pull off a link attack or do a rush attack with your party because you know that you've earned it through spending time with them in the game. Each party member fights relating to their personality and background, making each character in battle feel special. Nobody can be replaced, and it's up to you to choose your own meta. Elliot is a mild-mannered musician who loves to uplift his friends, so he uses his songs to heal his friends but also put enemies to sleep. Yuna uses the weapons of her heroes from her city, the ones she looks up to, and her attacks are very direct, just like her very direct and honest personality. This is such a bonus for me. I believe that a good party member should be able to stand on their own merit, but when they're in a group they should support the other party members, and the party members in this game do just that. The music is great. It's very much the same for the whole game, but the music that they use is fantastic. What really sells the game, however, is the stupendous voice acting, done by voices such as Sean Chiplock, who was also the voice of Rivali in Breath of the Wild. The actors know their characters and now play them so well. This game means so much to me. This series means the world to me. I want these characters that I love dearly to be good, to be happy, to get closure, to feel complete. I want that for all of them. They will stick with me for the longest time. This consistent, immersive and beautiful world is a joy to go through and it deserves more attention. And with that being said in the cheesiest way possible, Class 7, stand, bow.
Jesus Christ.
Resident Evil 2 Remake. Resident Evil, although very super popular always, was in a turbulent time ever since the reception received after Resident Evil 6, a game considered to be a mess by most. But with the release of games like Resident Evil Revelations 2, Resident Evil 7, the series has come back to prominence once again. Resident Evil 2 Remake added to that prominence with the greatest modern survival horror game of this decade. Yeah, I just said that. This is a remake of the original classic game released in 1998, but in this version almost everything is changed. Puzzles have changed, the layout of the map, zombie design, and even the main character designs. All changed, but I would even say kind of improved. While it's considerably easier than the original, it's also considerably more immersive and scary to me. The most important part to me is that the survival horror formula created and perfected by Resident Evil is here and is used so well. Locked doors with specific keys to open them that you must find throughout the game. It adds so much to the exploration, a lot actually. As the game goes on, the world opens up more and more, and it's all thanks to these just little keys that are assigned to different doors. Zombies crowd small hallways, creating an instant sense of danger, making you act as quickly as possible. Puzzles are a part of the world and make sense within the context of the game. Safe rooms offer a sweet respite from the horrific horror outside, and monsters throughout the game get bigger and scarier and even more threatening. And so on, and so on. A lot of staples from the series of Resident Evil, working at perfection here once again. Level design is stellar here, and is even an improvement on the original game. It's always fun to explore, and even in the scariest parts, while something was always on my tail, I did get lulled parts of the games as well to explore the beautiful and gritty environments, which is great because the visuals in this game are the best in the series so far. Using the RE engine, environments and characters look so beautiful. Speaking of which, the redesign of characters, all of the characters have been improved. Leon looks youthful, handsome, and inexperienced, exactly what I thought he would look like back in 1998, while Claire looks completely different, but again, actually looking her age this time. Kind of the same with Leon. Sherry is adorable, and Ada Wong looks fantastic, serious and deadly as ever. It helps having a crush on people like Claire and Ada for your whole life, and then seeing them redone like this. Amazing characters, and they look beautiful this time around. Along with the character designs being revamped, the characters themselves are too, with Claire being at her absolute best here, allowing us to grasp onto her funny and charming character with ease this time around, along with letting us see her relationship with Sherry in a more modern light. Leon feels unaware but ready for the danger ahead of him. It's nice to go back to a more inexperienced Leon that we all know and love, and of course to see a faux, almost real love story between Leon and Ada flourish here, or at least begin. It helps that Ada keeps her serious tone from the original game while adding more mystique to her character. I fucking love them all! I love them all! Above everything else, this game is actually scary, which was never hard for the original games, but personally I find it hard to be scared by modern horror games nowadays. The scariest thing in this game will be, of course, Mr. X, a gigantic specimen of scientific horror chasing you down through the police station. His effort in trying to crush your skull is impressive, and I am in awe of how well designed he is. Mr. X is always going towards your location, but because the police station is so connected, you can always hear him sometimes above you, sometimes behind you. He could be a few minutes away or a few seconds away. You need to always be ready. Sound design here being impeccable helps as well. Both playthroughs, Claire and Leon, offer something different. While it's not as vastly different as the original, we can forgive them as they offer so many new twists and turns. Great interactions and emotional moments that it makes every single minute worth playing. I've beaten Claire's campaign 4 times and Leon's campaign 4 times as well, for a total of 8 playthroughs, and I have not stopped there yet. I am a huge survival horror fan and a huge Resident Evil fan, and this exceeded all my expectations. It was hard to put down the controller. It's so easy to play, and it took not only me in, but also the entire internet, the entire streaming community. It's a horrific tale of overcoming all of the odds and fighting a great boss battle, and I would not mind another trip to Raccoon City. Stars. Oh. Sorry, something stuck in my throat.
This is very much their project.
I've got my composure back.
But we wanted to celebrate their announcement on our stage.
It's Castlevania.
Since this is a game that PlayStation fans have been very,
What's
Bloodstained.
Dude, this is a crazy conference.
Shenmue 3. As I have gotten older, I've appreciated more and more the idea of taking a knee. To take some time and take in the world around me. While many games it is possible to do this, I feel like none are better at letting you do this than the Shenmue series, and in this case of course, Shenmue 3. This crowd-funded game takes the formula that it built on in previous entries, and instead of streamlining everything, it digs deeper, making myself and many others really happy. Playing as Ryo Hazuki on an epic journey of revenge, we get to explore such a beautiful and realistic world full of context. This game really actually feels real. Every step has meaning to it, nothing is done if it does not fit within the world, and while some things are done kind of tongue-in-cheek to kind of wink at the player, it does not really take away from the realism of the game. In the first location I was in, I got a job making bad money for hard work. I trained in martial arts. I gambled on turtle and frog races. I used my exchange tokens to get some prizes at the exchange shop. I bought food at the vegetable stalls, wine at the wine stalls, and ornaments at the corner shop. I fished in this game for days. In the second area, I fought in the fighting pits. I paid for my own hotel by working in a much better job for much better pay. I saved up to buy clothes. I played Lucky Hit the gambling game. And in both locations, I walked around. Just walked around for hours, living in these two places as if I was just part of the world. And that's just it. I was. While other games will have you be the most important person in this game, all eyes are on you. The majority of people in this game do not even give a crap about you. This world is not made for your character. It feels like it is already there and you are just inhabiting it. All the people you meet have their own purpose, and just like the main character, they have their own reason for living. They're not just pawns to improve the main character. They will tell you to go away. They will tell you to shut up. They will tell you they're busy. They don't need you. If anything, you need them. You roam around the game looking for clues to find the person you were looking for. The gameplay involves talking to people, asking for directions to places, or asking them for direct information to further the story. If you wanted to know about something from a long while ago, you would ask an elderly person. If you want to know where some thugs hang out, you might ask some people in the local shop who live in the center of town. Kids will go to class, then take a lunch break, then go back to class, and around 5 o'clock you will see them walking home as it's getting dark. People work during the day, and you can see them walking home and back to work every single day. Some of them will hang out in the local pub late at night, and unlike other games like this, there are not two people the same in the game. Everyone is different. Everyone is different. Along with that, like the other games, you'll be put into combat situations. I had to level up my Kung Fu in order to be able to fight effectively, and the fighting in this game is better than ever. You learn different moves through skill books, making the move variety more diverse, meaning the combat never gets dull. You meet people that will agree to help you with your combat along the way. And just like most characters in the game, they are hard to forget. You get a sense that after a while getting to know them, they start to care for Ryo, and vice versa. They are worried for Ryo, just like the people in the previous games, but see the tenacity in him and know they cannot stop him on his quest. One of the most exciting things I saw in this game was main characters living their life outside of the quests. They did not retreat into this imaginary wormhole as to not interrupt the game or the flow of your work. They would wander around, go to shops and casinos, they would even go to work. This type of effort is so appreciated among the already crazy amounts of effort that you see in this game. While the realism in this game is important, I was also emotionally attached to this game. Ryo was a character that I've seen grow up over 3 games, faster than he would have liked. The people he meets mean something to me as they individually have great personalities that mesh with Ryo's. I found myself wanting to both explore and to further the main story equally. There was never a time where I thought I'm exploring too much or I'm seeing too much of the main story, I should start exploring. I just love doing everything naturally. I also at this point care about Ryo's quests. It's a conflicting feeling. If you have played the game, you'll know what I'm talking about. While I wanted to see what happens, I found myself being worried to go further, just for Ryo, hoping only the best for him and the people around him. As he grew closer to them, it only gets deeper and darker in the story. Its quest is even not over yet. I am still worried for Ryo, and I only hope the best for him. They focus quite a bit on the fact that Ryo is powerful, but not at his peak, not even close, but he is powerful. They say that that power inside him has the ability to destroy or save him, not in some magical way, just in terms of his own tenacity and fierceness. This is terrifying, as us fans want to see him train his way to the top, but the idea that he could be either his own ruination or his own salvation is a worrying step that could give us either or. Visually, the game is more than I expected. It looks like an updated Dreamcast game. I mean, of course. What I did not expect was the vibrant colors, the immersive designs, and the popping visuals. It stunned me exploring even the seedy parts of this world, and even their attention to detail in this game was even second to none compared to the original games. The VO in some places is fantastic, but the main characters are around the same as they were back in the late 90s. Some very awkward lines, but they sound exactly like they did 18 years ago, and that to me is amazing because it picks up right where it left off so long ago, like no time has passed at all. Every moment of this game was fantastic. Not 1 ounce of this game was ever frustrating, nothing was ever boring. It all worked, every single second of it. It was a joy to pick up the controller each time and to feel emotionally attached to the story. I cannot wait to see what happens next. I made this video before I made the choice for my game of the year, which is kind of dangerous, but the reason for this was because I was kind of up in the air on all of this, and I thought this video would actually help me choose. It became more difficult. I've gone back and forth over the past few days of which one of these deserves to be Game of the Year. Trails of Cold Steel 3 is one of the best RPGs I've ever played. In fact, I think it's the best RPG that has come out this year at the very least. A game like Judgment has one of the best stories, in fact I think the best story that I've seen in a video game all my life. Shenmue 3 does not have one dull moment, and every single second of it I enjoyed. Such a fantastic game. And Resident Evil 2 is how you make a video game. Almost perfect in every single thing that it does. I had to narrow it down, and I narrowed it down to 2 games. Resident Evil 2 Remake and Judgment for the PlayStation 4. 2 games that I truly believe are utterly fantastic in everything they do. It breaks my heart to not pick Trails of Cold Steel 3, to not pick Shenmue 3. 2 games that honestly are so unbelievably fantastic. But it has to be done. I don't want to pick 4 Game of the Years, that's pretty silly. But 2's pretty okay, especially when these games are so vastly different from each other and offer something different completely when you play both of them. Judgment honestly has my favorite protagonist in any video game ever, has my favorite story, probably has one of my favorite casts of characters to ever be in a video game, and of course an added bonus that it's in Kamurocho. It's a gorgeous, beautiful game, and I don't think I ever am gonna forget it. Resident Evil 2 is an actually scary game, an actual terrifying game. I spent hours just in the pause menu wondering what am I going to do next. The moment that I knew was coming up next was too scary for me to go on, and that is a mark of a true horror game. This to me is the genesis, and not only the genesis but the redoing of what horror can be. And even though it has the original Resident Evil formula, which I freaking love, I do think that this is what horror games should be in the modern age. This has been my Game of the Year video, and like I said, it breaks my heart to have to say to any of these games that they're not Game of the Year. Even the games that didn't make it into the nominations are utterly fantastic, superb games. But it was the 4 games that I picked that I'm really sad that I didn't get to say that any of them were number 1, or that every one of them were number 1. Thank you guys for watching, thank you for listening to my opinion. I hope that you'll try out a few of these games if you haven't, and of course as always, next month for the community video we will be doing your Game of the Year, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.